Hey everyone, Lauren from A Girl and Her Wool here. So we're here in the dye studio and we're back with another dye with me. So thank you so much for joining me for this dye with me. We're going to be doing something a little bit different today. We're going to be doing something fun. It's also the evening, so the sun hasn't gone down, but it is about 6:10 in the evening. So I am dyeing at night for the first time probably this year, but even going back into last year. So I'm really excited. This is going to be fun. Just finished up like a lot of stressful work days, so I'm excited to be here in the dye studio dyeing yarn with you guys. So the premise for today is to, again, do something a little bit silly, a little bit fun, and just completely take the pressure off of me. And so what I have is I have a bin of my dyes, and I actually have them in rainbow order, and they are ordered in such a way that by now I actually don't even need to look at the label. I can kind of just reach in and know what dye I'm going to get out. So I'm going to shuffle those dyes around a little bit, and then we're going to dye 2 batches of yarn today. Nacho says hi. So we're going to dye up 2 batches of yarn today. So the first one, what I'm going to do, so both of these are going to be blind tests in the way of how I'm choosing what colors we're going to use. So I'm not going to pick the colors we're using on these skeins. We're going to let fate do that for us. So I'm not going to dye blind. Like I'll be able to see what I'm doing, and I'll choose how the colors and dyes go on the yarn. But I'm going to shuffle up my dyes, and then I'm going to just pick 5 colors. So we're going to use 5 colors on each. That might end up being a lot, we'll see. I figure it'll give some good variety in picking like bases versus speckling and all that. So I'm going to blindly pick out 5 dyes, and so for the first round, I will look at all 5 dyes at once. So I'm going to look at all 5 and then kind of go from there, and I'll talk about why I'm choosing to dye the skein in the order in which I'm choosing to dye it in and using the techniques that I'm choosing to use. I may take 2 colors and blend them in a bottle. I may use them all separately. We'll kind of see what colors I kind of pick out of the bin, but I have to use all 5, so that's the rule with this. Well, I'll kind of explain it afterwards, but the way the second one is going to work is I'm going to pick one at a time and apply it in that order. So I'm going to pick a color and apply it. I'm going to pick the second color and apply it, third color, so on and so on. So that way I won't really have, like, I won't be able to see all the colors up front and choose how to do it. That's really going to test like kind of some of these colorways here or dyes here and see how they all play together. I feel like this will be a really fun little experiment to get some combinations that maybe I wouldn't gravitate towards. So when I'm coming up with new colorways and I say, okay, I want like a green base, then I apply my green base and I say, well, I really, I'm really into pinks and greens, so then let me add some pink to it. Okay, let me add some like gray or neutral to it. And this will cause me to see how maybe that green would react with like one of my other colors. So like maybe a yellow or a blue or something else like that, and give me kind of like the courage and bravery to use those combinations in the future. So we've talked a little bit before about how I kind of like test new dyes when I get them to see how they play. But even with that, I always tend to do blues with the same colors and pinks with the same colors and so on and so on. So I thought this would be fun. In the end, we're going to get nice skeins no matter what. I like all of the dyes in my arsenal, so I don't see it being a problem. I don't think we're going to get some atrocious looking skein. But yeah, so I'm excited to do this again. I think it just like takes the pressure off of me. I don't have to think other than like applying how I want to apply the dye, and that is so forgivable in a lot of ways. So I'm not too concerned. Again, I'm excited to do this. Nacho's rubbing up against the tripod, so it's shaking. So anyway, let's get into it again. For the first batch, Actually, before we get into it, I'm going to just really quickly remind you guys about the Dye With Me Club. So the only way that you can purchase the skeins you'll see me dye in this vlog today and all of my Dye With Me vlogs is through the Dye With Me Club. And so every month it renews on the first of the month for everybody. And everyone who is signed up on that day will receive a skein from a prior Dye With Me vlog. So you won't get a skein from every single vlog, you'll get one skein from a previous vlog. Lately it's been the previous month. I've really been trying to match up the number of skeins to the subscription, so that way I kind of clean out the arsenal every month. But anyway, it's a really low rate to sign up. It's less than $20 a month, including shipping, to get about 100 gram skein of yarn. I think for like 95% of the yarn that I've sent out have been 100 gram skeins of yarn. We did do minis, we did do a little bit of other stuff recently, but for the most part you pretty much get 100 gram skein, but of course that's no guarantee. So anyway, if you're interested in signing up for it, I have a link in the video, in the info down below, or you can head over to agirlandherwool.com to sign up there. And yeah, you can cancel anytime, so there's no commitment to anything. You can kind of watch the vlogs, decide if you want something, kind of jump in and out, or stay in it and kind of get a skein every single month. So I hope you guys consider joining, and now let's get into the dyeing. So again, for this first batch, and again, I'm going to do the voiceover so you won't hear me talking as I dye. You know, I'm going to film that later. But for the first batch, I'm going to pick out the 5 colors. I'm going to just tell you guys generally what kind of colors they are. I won't give you the dye names or anything. Kind of just say what they are. And then I'm going to kind of like decide how I want to use those 5 skeins. And we'll go from there. So let's get into the dyeing. Alright, so I took all my dyes out of my bin. And then closed my eyes and randomly put them back in. So future Lauren, I sincerely apologize for the mess we just made. And then so after I put them back in, I didn't look at the bin or anything. With my eyes still closed, I just picked 5 out and put it up on the table here. So it's a pretty interesting selection considering how random I was trying to get with this. So we'll see what happens with skein number 2. But the colors we got was a really light neutral, a really like off-white, doesn't show too much, light neutral. We got a red, so like a deep red. We got a hot pink, so like what I use in Neon Unicorn basically. We got a bright yellow and an orange. So we got red, orange, yellow, a very light neutral, and then a hot pink. So if it weren't for that hot pink, we could do like, you know, red, orange, and yellow. Those all go together. I do those a lot together. But we have that hot pink. So we'll see how we apply that hot pink to this. Because again, this rule I have to use all 5 colors. So I could blend in a bottle that hot pink with some of the other colors. I'm a little unsure about what I want to do here with this. So again, we're going to see how this plays. This, you know, minus that hot pink, I would do these colors together. So we're going to play around and see how this goes. I'm sorry that Nacho's meowing so much. I swear, I take the camera out and he just wants to be on camera. So the pan is heated up. I have skeins in there, so let's flip on over to that, and we're just going to figure this out. We're going to make a skein of yarn that looks nice. So I do go into more detail afterwards when I show you guys the finished skein, so I'm not going to like explain every little thing here. I'll just kind of talk through which colors I'm using. So you can see this is like that off-white that I mentioned, neutral base, and again I talk about it at the end, like the color, but it does fade a lot, so it looks darker here and then it will kind of fade out. So that's color 1 being applied now. So I'm coming in, I just mixed a little bit of orange in a bottle just to dilute it so it wouldn't be a bright orange. I wanted it to be more subdued. The theme I was really going with here was a kind of a sandy base layer. So I just did that, and then I did come back and add the yellow to it. So I'm getting, instead of having the yellow applied on its own, I actually mixed it in with the bottle too. So the first patch that I did was just orange, and then this one that I came in had orange and yellow in it, and that was again just to like, I didn't want to have the bright yellow later on, and I'll talk about it more later. So I thought like between those three colors I would get a good like beachy base, and you will see in the final one like this does lighten up quite a bit. It looks like very orange there, but it will lighten up even more. Okay, so now we get into the speckling. So I'm coming in with the red. I wanted the red to bleed a little bit, but I didn't want it to like become a red skein. So that's kind of why I piled it, left it on top, kind of like moved it around a little bit, but left it there. And then you can actually see the hot pink on there already. So I just speckled that around the red. I really wanted the hot pink to blend in with the red. I didn't want this to become a hot pink skein either. So just kind of speckled a little tiny bit of it on top, didn't let it get into the water, and just near the red. So that is all 5 colors and where I'm going to end with batch number 1. So let's move on to test 2. This one, I pick one color at a time, so I have no idea what's coming next. Pick one color, apply it to the yarn, and put it away. Done with it. So I'll kind of introduce the colors as I go, and again at the end of the video when I show it to you guys, I talk about it pretty much in depth there. So I'm just gonna like quickly tell you guys what I'm doing here. So color 1 was like this medium blue green, and I decided to just speckle a little bit of it. The reason why I just did a little bit is because I have no clue what the next 4 colors are going to be, and I did not want to like put myself in a hole with that. So color number 2 ended up being brown, and again I didn't want like a ton of green and a ton of brown, which again I didn't do the green a ton of it, but again I just wanted to give the brown a nice little base layer. I didn't want to overwhelm the skein with brown, so I mixed a little bit again in a bottle just to dilute it down a little bit, and I'm just applying it to the base. So that is color number 2 is a brown, and color 1 was that green that I just really lightly speckled. So color number 3 was a bright blue, and I was so excited by this. I love blue and brown together, so I was really excited about this. The green, I was glad at this point that the green, I didn't do very much. I was like, let's go nuts with this blue. I mean, I didn't go nuts. You can see I didn't go too nuts, but let's get a lot of this blue on there and let the blue kind of do what it wants and bleed all over the skein because I love it. It's so pretty and I wanted it all over.
color number 4 that I picked was a purple. I got lucky here, all those warm colors together, and then I kept picking cool colors. So I just speckled a little bit of purple on there. Again, I didn't want it to go nuts. I loved the blue. So I just added a little bit of purple, and I talk about it more at the end as to why I just did a little bit, but just speckled a little bit of purple on there. And of course at this point I'm loving this skein. I love the colors that are in it, blue and brown, the little bit of purple. So I was terrified for what color number 5 was going to be. I'm like, it's going to be something crazy. It was not crazy. It was a gray, and it was a pretty light gray too. So I came in at the end and just took some of the lighter areas and just like speckled them on top there. So gray was probably what I would have picked for that last color if I could have had a choice. So I had such a sigh of relief when I picked out the gray. Again, I did not cheat on this. I got very lucky with the color selection. So that was color 5 on the skein. That is it. I might move it around and add a little bit more, but I'm gonna go into way more detail at the end about my thought process throughout all of this, as well as what I liked and didn't like about these 2 experiments.
Alright guys, so we're back. We're here in my kitchen, not in the craft room today. I know it's a little bit different. Videos have just been a little bit different and off this week, so continuing with that theme. So I'm hoping the lighting works out okay. I know the windows are behind me, but again, we're gonna go with this. So I'll insert pictures if they look really off, but anyway, let's go through and look at what we dyed. I have the skein sitting here. So the first one we'll look at is the first one we did. So this was the one where I shuffled all my dyes around and just randomly picked out 5 dyes. And it just so worked out for both of the tests that like we got really warm colors and then we got really cool colors, and people probably think I cheated on this, and I did not. I'm telling you, I did it exactly this way. So for that first skein, I picked out 5 colors. The first being, well, I picked them up and was able to like look at them and examine them and think about the colorway I wanted to come up with based on 5 dyes. So we had like a neutral color, red, like a deeper red, orange, yellow, and a hot pink. So here is the colorway that we came up with, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. So it's probably getting like a little blown out, like it's probably not, but I think that actually is pretty good, but I'll insert the pictures as well. And I'll just hold up a couple more skeins up close. So what I decided to do was, seeing the 5 colors, I knew it was going to be a warm colored skein, again, the red, orange, and yellow, and I was really mostly nervous about that hot pink. And I don't know why, you know, pink is related to red, so I don't know why I was so nervous about the hot pink. I think it could have been really different. I think it could have been like red, orange, yellow, and like hot lime green. Even in that sense, like, the great thing about yarn is, like, when you speckle, it just adds these fun little pops of colors that they don't necessarily have to match. And I think that that's, you know, I'll kind of talk about these skeins and then I'll kind of see how this test worked with what I wanted to get out of it versus kind of what I did. Okay, so I started with the light neutral color and gave it that base. So kind of just looking at this skein, you can kind of see that color. I really just wanted to take the white out of it, so you kind of get some of it up there, right? Ignoring where you kind of get some of that peach, but we got in there, right? Like, that's that color there. It's a dye that I don't necessarily love. What I was hoping for when I bought it was that it would be like a good neutral base dye, where if I didn't want the base to be pure white, I could use that as a base layer, but it's like a little bit more yellow green. And so I don't necessarily like absolutely love it for that purpose. And you can see it probably, this is it on DK and the tie is there, but you can really see what it looks like. But you can really see what it looks like in here. Like, it's not like an off-white, it's a more like yellowy. So I decided to do that on the base of it, and that color also fades a lot. So like I wanted to use a lot of it to have it kind of be there as the base. And what happens is some dyes like brighten or deepen as they heat up, and some kind of like fade away, like they blend in a little bit more, and this one is one that definitely like blends in a little bit more. So I did quite a bit and put that kind of all over the skein. And then because I didn't do like a dye bath or something, there was a lot of white showing, so I decided to bring in the orange. And kind of my theme in my head when I saw the 5 colors was like, okay, this is going to be like a beach, so the base would be like the sand, and then the speckling would be with the red, and the pink would be like the sunset and sky. That was kind of the picture that I had in my head. So I figured between the yellow, the orange, and like that neutral color, I would get like a good sandy beach color. So that's kind of what I did next. Was I mixed a little bit of orange in a bottle and kind of sprayed it in the white parts, so we get just bits of a really light orange. I decided the yellow that I picked does not speckle well. It's a pretty bright yellow and it doesn't speckle. And so I ended up adding some, instead of like, you know, the base was coming in pretty light. I didn't want to like throw too much brightness onto it. So I ended up mixing the yellow in the bottle as well. So the first spray around that I did was like just orange, and then the second one was like orange and yellow. So you kind of get like even up here like orange and yellow. So I didn't go nuts with that or anything. So that was kind of the base. So then what I did was I just piled it up and I speckled the red. So we get red kind of throughout the skein, not an overall red skein. I piled it up, kept it out of the water. And then I also did the hot pink kind of in the same spot, hoping that they would blend in together. And they really did. Like, the hot pink looks really nice. It kind of just brightens the skein up a little bit, but it doesn't like make it too crazy. So I really do like how that pink looks. Again, I didn't use a lot of it. That is a pink that can take over the skein, but I just did a little bit of speckling just over the red. So I figured the red would like tone it down. It wouldn't be bright pink. So this skein kind of shows it pretty good, the mixture. So yeah, overall, again, I wasn't like nervous when I saw the colors. I thought I got pretty lucky that they were all kind of related colors, but a good beachy, this is like a tropical drink for sure, type of color. And I thought it came out really pretty. So I did dye up 3 skeins on my sock base and 1 skein on DK. So then moving into the next test, I picked a color out, and I picked 5 in total, but I did one at a time and I had to apply it, so I couldn't see what was coming next. I really just had to work with what I had in that moment and then go along. So this was one where I didn't know really what was gonna happen, because with this one I could kind of, you know, if I had picked the red first, this skein would have come out different by making that not be the last layer and instead the first. So I didn't know if I was gonna end up having like a dark skein and then try to have lights on top of it or anything. So in the end, I think it's funny that I picked all cool colors. I think it could have been really different, but here is the skein, and I'll talk about them more, but just a really pretty icy blue and gray, of course, color. I absolutely love this skein. It might have to be a colorway in the shop. So again, it's probably not quite as like bright blue. It's more of a ocean blue in there, and then of course you get the speckles of green and the purple, and you get the gray kind of in those spots too. So I'll post pictures of that because I think it was getting a little blown out. But just talking about it, so the first color I picked was the green, and I did very little with the green. I had 4 more colors to go. It's not the darkest color, but it's not the lightest color either, and I didn't want to have a green based skein knowing that I could still get all the colors of the rainbow on top of it. So I like barely used it, but we speckled it, and it did get pretty hidden, but you do get, in each of the skeins, you do get a few speckles of the green kind of in it, which is nice. It kind of is like that hot pink where it kind of just like, when you're knitting it, it's like, just, it's not gonna show up as green. You know, this isn't a green skein, it's definitely a blue skein. But you'll just get like little blips of a green speckle every once in a while. So I think that'll be fun. And I definitely was playing it safe on that one. And the rule that I followed was once I applied the color, I couldn't come back and add more. So maybe I would have come back and speckled more later on, maybe not, but that is what we did first. So the second color that I got was brown, and I was like, oh gosh, green and brown, like that's so like trees and nature. We'll see what kind of comes with this. But what I decided again was I played it safe with the green. I didn't do very little of it. Brown can overtake everything. Again, I didn't want to make it an overall brown skein because not too much shows on brown. So again, I mixed it in the bottle and just sprayed it all over. So I kind of took out so I kind of just like sprayed that on, and I actually even, it like again lightened up a lot where the skein was still pretty white. And at this point, I was like, okay, 2 colors in, I only have 3 left, I should probably use it more. So I did end up kind of coming in and adding a few more dark bits of the brown. Again, you can see from the fact that I forgot about it, it doesn't show up too much, but you do see it. Like now that I know that the brown was in there, you do get the brown, but I probably could have used more. Again, it doesn't show up all over the base, you just kind of get these darker bits every once in a while. So I was still playing it safe, but again, added that brown in there, and I think if I were to do more of this, I would have more brown. Okay, so then we got the bright blue, and I love blue and I love this color, and so what I decided in my head was like, we're just gonna go for it and apply this blue, let this blue do what it wants to the skein. So I didn't go crazy with it. It's not like hugely saturated. It still is pretty light, but I kind of let the blue bleed and do, like I said, what I wanted to the skein. And I figured blue and brown goes really well. Again, I didn't do too much green, so I wasn't like so concerned with the green. And so that's kind of what we got on this. So you get the sections where it's like, you know, you can tell where I applied the color, right? You get like the darker parts of it, but then you just also all throughout the skein you just get really light pieces of it. So again, kind of let it do its thing. So then I picked up the purple, and you're probably like, oh, purple, great, another cool color that goes with this perfectly. I have had like a hate relationship with purple recently. I don't really have purple colorways in my shop. I have purple basil, which is a dark purple, but I don't have like a springy purple. And I've been trying, like I have the idea in my head of what I want the skein to look like, and I just can't make it happen. And I have probably been trying for, I don't know, like 6 months to, like, every once in a while I'm like, let me try a purple skein, and then I don't like it and I over dye it and either break it up into mystery minis or sell it as one of a kind. I haven't loved like the purple, and then when I over dye it I like it, but like as a purple skein I just haven't been enjoying it. So I said at the beginning that I was taking the choice out of it and I was letting fate control this, and so that's what fate did. Fate made me work with purple. So I added a little bit. Again, I didn't go too nuts. I was like, fine, I'll use the purple, and I used a little bit of it. Didn't let it overtake the skein, but the purple almost kind of looks blue, kind of with this blue background. So I actually think it worked really well in terms of like adding another dimension. So this is the purple here and here. Those are all the purple. So it looked nice. And then of course the last color I got was gray. I thought I was gonna get like a neon orange or something crazy, but it was a gray, and I was like, oh, perfect. That's probably what I would have used anyway. So again, I mixed that up in the bottle and just sprayed that kind of where, or no, I didn't put that in a bottle, did I? Whatever I did, I think I just speckled it into spots where there wasn't so much else going on. So it all kind of just blended together into this really pretty skein. So these are the two of them together. Again, I think it's really funny that I got one color that's all warm, one color that's all cool. I think if I did this test again, I wouldn't get so lucky, but now I'm gonna be too confident going into it. So if you are in the Dye With Me Club and you love one of these skeins and you want to put your name down for it, feel free to email me. Make sure you put Dye With Me in the subject line. That just helps me find everything. So overall, like what I wanted to go into this was just like take the pressure off, maybe combine colors that I won't normally combine and see what I get out of it. And I think on one hand, like it worked in terms of giving the confidence side of it. So I was able to come up with two colorways that I actually do love, without being in control of what color dyes I was using. So like that kind of gives me confidence in like my color sense and dyeing techniques and all of that to be able to do that. I think if someone else were to have done the same experiment, the skeins could have come out completely differently. So I think like liking what I came up with was a good thing. I expected it to be a little bit more random, so I don't necessarily know if I got any color pairings that I wouldn't have normally used. Again, I was really freaked out about that hot pink, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know where that fear came from, other than like maybe that was the weirdest one of the batch and I was expecting weirder. I don't know. So in the end, I don't think I got out of it kind of the ability to see kind of different pairings. Again, I got all cool colors for one and like all warm colors for the other. So I did have to charge my battery. I'm not 100% sure where it got cut off. So hopefully in editing I can help this like make sense. But in the end, I don't think I necessarily got out of the experiment what I went into of like, you know, putting together different pairings, maybe seeing colors that I wouldn't have normally put together. But in the end, it was a lot of fun. It was a little terrifying, but it was a lot of fun. And I'm glad that I really did dye up colors that I'm happy with. So I hope you guys like that. I hope you had fun with this little experiment. I know you weren't really there for the experiment side of things, meaning like you didn't see me picking the colors. You weren't in my head being like, please be normal, please be normal, please be normal, and all that stuff. So in the end, for you guys, it probably was similar to other Dye With Me's, but I think it'll be interesting to do this again sometime and really see what colors we get. I think I lucked out for sure. So so yeah, we'll see. Let me know what you think about doing it this way. Again, it probably felt similar, and if you say honestly it felt similar because you never show what colors you're using, then that is fine. But I really did blindly pick these dyes out. So that being said, that is the end of today's Dye With Me. I will be back in 2 weeks with another one, and in the meantime there'll be plenty of crafty content here on the channel of I do have some new samples that kind of came in recently, so keep an eye out for that. I'm not sure if how I'll show that. I don't have it here, but I will be having more kits in the shop, so make sure you follow me on Instagram at agirlandherwool to make sure you just have all the latest and greatest things that are going on. I did release a lot of spring stuff over the last couple of months, so make sure you check out the shop at agirlandherwool.com, and you can check out the yarn clubs. And also tomorrow will be the last day to sign up for the Rainbow Club. So this will be a 3-month club with all rainbow inspired skeins. So if you love rainbows, definitely go and check that out. Tomorrow will be the last day to sign up, and then you'll receive one skein kind of in the middle of the month, every single month. I also would have my mystery yarn clubs that renew on the 20th. So if you want to sign up for May, you can do that. And then I will be doing some birthday announcements. I might do like a bonus vlog on what I have coming up with May, because May is my birthday month and I've been planning a few different things. So I might just do like a vlog on that. So make sure you are subscribed because there's so much crafty things on here. I can't remember off the top of my head what vlogs are coming next week. I think next Friday is releasing the April yarn clubs. That was a really fun colorway. So I'm excited to show you guys it, and I can't remember what Tuesdays is. I think it's like a crafty one. So anyway, make sure you stick around, you subscribe, and let me know what you think, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.